Hi, Solomon and I wanted to make a video today showing people how we memorize Bible verses because we get asked about this a lot and we thought making a video would be easier. Right, honey?
Yeah.
So we wanted to pick a new verse that he has not yet memorized and show how quickly it can be done. So we're going to take the Bible, and Solomon, you can open it anywhere, don't look, just open to any page. Put your finger down. Okay, so what do we have here?
Proverbs 6:3.
Proverbs 6:3. So I'm going to read the verse. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Have you ever memorized this before?
No. Right.
So the first thing we do when we memorize is I go through the verse little pieces at a time, and we repeat that. I say it, then he says it after me. So this is the first step. Do this now,
Do this now,
my son,
my son,
and deliver thyself
and deliver thyself
when thou art come
when thou art come
into the hand
into the hand
of thy friend.
of thy friend.
Go humble thyself
Go humble thyself
and make sure thy friend.
and make sure thy friend.
Do this now, my son,
Do this now, my son,
and deliver thyself
and deliver thyself
when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
when thou come into the hand of thy friend.
Go humble thyself
Go humble thyself
and make sure thy friend.
and make sure thy friend.
Do this now, my son,
Do this now, my son,
and deliver thyself
and deliver thyself
when thou art come
when thou art come
into the hand of thy friend.
into the hand of thy friend.
Go humble thyself
Go humble thyself
and make sure thy friend.
and make sure thy friend.
Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself
when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking those smaller parts, and as I feel that he knows how to say them, I'm going to say them bigger and bigger chunks at a time until, I feel like he can say the whole verse at a time. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself
when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself
when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
So once I feel like he probably pretty much could say it just with a little prompting, I'm just going to have him say the verse with me a few times, just so that if he does get stuck, he knows the next word. So Solomon, say it with me. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend. Say again. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend. Do you think you can say it?
I think I should use a little more.
A few more?
Yeah.
Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Yeah. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Very good. You want to say it again?
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and deliver and make sure thy friend.
Very good. That's 2.
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
That's 3.
Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Very good. Once more.
Do this now, my son, deliver thyself when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself and make sure thy friend.
Good job. Now, go get me the binder that we use for reviewing Bible memory. Now, once our children learn a verse, and we usually go by whole chapters, just because that makes it easier for them to retain it rather than, individual disjointed verses. So we usually go chapter by chapter, And when they do, it's really important that they maintain it, because the point of learning is so that they would know it, one, but also because otherwise it's really frustrating for them if they spend all that time memorizing something and then they forget it again. Then they kind of feel like, what's the point of this, and it will discourage them from wanting to memorize in the future. Whereas if they are able to maintain it, they will the more they learn and the more they maintain, the more they will enjoy it. And the system has worked very well for us. My husband has been using this exact system of retaining his verses for 5 years now, and he currently has, I believe, about 130 chapters of the Bible, mostly the New Testament, memorized, that he can quote word for word perfectly. And this is the system that he uses. After you memorize a chapter, you would then quote it to yourself or somebody else every day for 7 days. And after 7 days, you would then start quoting it once a week for 4 weeks. And after that, you would move on to quoting it once per month. Now, it sounds really simple, and most people will be able to maintain that. Some people maybe would have to quote it every day for 10 days and then quote it once a week for 6 weeks. But most people will do fine, once a day for 7 days, once a week for 4 weeks, and then once a month thereafter, indefinitely, as long as you want to maintain those verses. Now, keeping track of that with lots of children is kind of difficult, so this is what I use, and I just started this, so everything is not in there yet. And this is just a coupon binder, and I have cards in here, and there's a different color for each child. Here's red, and John is red, and then there's yellow, that's me, and then we have orange and green for Solomon and Isaac. And what I do is these little tabs, I don't know if you can see that. The tabs say day 1 through day 7, and then week 1 through week 4, and then monthly. And basically, for instance, Isaac just finished memorizing Proverbs 1 2 days ago. And when he did, I wrote a little card on his collar that says Proverbs 1, and I put it in the day 1 folder. And once it's in the day 1 folder, I know that he has to quote that. We go through all the stuff in the daily folders every day. So every day when we do Bible time, I take this out and I look, okay, well, Isaac today has to quote Proverbs 1. When he does, I will move it to day 3 out of the day 2 slot. And Solomon has to memorize, has nothing in the daily folder right now, because he just yesterday actually got done with Proverbs 1. It was in the daily folder, just moved to the weekly folder. And he's working on some other memory chapters that are not yet done. So they're in the very front here. That's where we keep the ones that are not yet done. Then the weekly folder, we quote everything. On Mondays, we quote everything that's in the monthly folder. And on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, one of each of those 4 days is for week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. That way we know, on week 4, everything in week 4 gets quoted on Mondays. Everything on week 3 gets quoted on Tuesdays. Everything in week 2 gets quoted on Wednesdays, and everything in week 1 gets quoted on Thursdays. That way, when we move it to the next week, it stays on track and everything. So that's just what we've done, and it works really good. But yes, the teaching them the verse doesn't take but a couple of minutes a day. It can be very tedious and frustrating, especially if they then forget those verses and they get discouraged, and you get discouraged and you throw in the towel. But this is just a system that has worked great for us and helped the children to not just memorize verses easily, but also retain them, and then for those verses to come to their mind. So anyway, I hope this helps you. Thank you.